Charlotte, Avery, and Willow were the best of friends. They had grown up together in a small town, sharing countless adventures and secrets. With summer in full swing, they decided to have a sleepover at an old, creepy house that had been abandoned for years and was believed to be haunted. Due to the many tales surrounding the house's existence, a sign had been placed on the front door many years ago that read, "Haunted, enter at your own risk." Charlotte, Avery, and Willow laughed at the sign, brushing it off as a silly prank. As the sun set, the three friends gathered in the living room of the old house, excitedly discussing their plans for the evening. The house seemed frozen in time, its faded wallpaper and dusty furniture giving it an air of mystery.
"Are you sure this place isn't haunted?"
Frey stated, glancing around nervously. Charlotte laughed.
"Oh, come on! It's just an old house. Besides, it'll make our sleepover more exciting."
They decided to begin with a classic game of truth or dare to break the ice. Willow suggested they make it more thrilling by venturing into the darkest corners of the house for their dares. Friends agreed, eager to test their bravery. Charlotte volunteered to go first. Avery gave her a mischievous smile and whispered,
"I dare you to go down to the basement and stay there for 5 minutes, alone."
Charlotte hesitated for a moment, her heart pounding. She grabbed a flashlight and made her way to the basement door. As she descended the creaking staircase, the temperature dropped, sending chills down her spine. Charlotte found a light switch and turned it on. The basement was now dimly lit, with the flickering bulbs casting eerie shadows on the cracked and peeling walls. Charlotte glanced around, her heart still racing, counting down the minutes until she could escape. As 5 minutes approached, Charlotte turned to leave when a chilling whisper echoed throughout the basement. She froze, her eyes darting around the darkness. But there was no one there. Trembling, she raced up the stairs and joined her friends, eager to put the basement behind her. Next, it was Avery's turn. With a mischievous gleam in her eyes, Willow whispered,
"I dare you to spend 10 minutes in the attic, alone."
Frey gulped, feeling a knot form in her stomach. The attic was said to be the most haunted part of the house. Reluctantly, she climbed up the staircase, her footsteps muffled by the dust-covered floor. As she entered the attic, the musty smell overwhelmed her senses. The room was filled with trunks and old furniture that were layered with years of dust. The air grew colder, and Avery's breath formed a fog in front of her face. She was about to call out to her friends when she heard a soft sobbing sound from the corner of the room. Her heart pounded in her chest as she stared in the direction of the sound. In the darkness, she saw a ghostly figure emerge. A young girl dressed in tattered clothes. Terrified, Avery stumbled backward, desperate to escape the chilling presence. She raced down the stairs to her friends who were waiting anxiously at the bottom of the staircase. She struggled to find her voice, recounting the haunting encounter. But of course, her friends did not believe her. Willow stepped forward and insisted it was her turn. Charlotte hesitated for a moment but finally whispered,
"I dare you to spend 15 minutes in the master bedroom, alone."
Willow's eyes widened, her confidence wavering. The master bedroom was rumored to hold a dark secret. She took a deep breath and made her way down the dimly lit hallway. Upon entering the master bedroom, an overwhelming sense of dread enveloped her. The room was decorated with faded wallpaper and moth-eaten curtains that swayed ominously in the breeze, the dim moonlight barely entering through the windows. Willow's heart raced as she searched for a place to sit and wait out the remaining minutes. She noticed an old vanity in the corner that was covered in layers of dust. As she approached it, she caught a glimpse of her reflection in the cracked mirror. However, the reflection staring back at her was not her own. It was a distorted, ghastly figure with vacant eyes and a sinister grin. A blood-curdling scream escaped Willow's lips as the figure lunged forward, shattering the mirror into pieces. Charlotte and Avery, alarmed by the scream, rushed into the room and found Willow huddled in the corner, shaking with terror. They comforted her as their own fears began to increase. Realizing that something was terribly wrong, the friends decided it was time to leave the house. But as they approached the front door and opened it, the door slammed shut, trapping them inside. The girls began yelling, pulling on the doorknob and banging on the door, hoping someone would hear from the outside. However, their efforts went unnoticed. Panic consumed them, and they knew they had to search for another way out. As they began slowly walking, a bone-chilling laughter echoed through the house. The friends huddled together, and Willow began sobbing. Charlotte and Emma comforted her until she was able to regain her composure. As the friends stood huddled together, Charlotte noticed an old photograph hanging on the wall. It depicted a family, a mother, father, and a young girl. Avery looked at the photo and gasped.
It's her, the girl I saw in the room.
Charlotte and Willow stared at Avery. It was at this point they realized their visions were true and that they were in danger. Now, with a heightened desperation to escape the house, they began searching for an alternate escape route. Slowly walking through the house, they turned a corner and stumbled upon a hidden door, partially obscured by a tattered curtain. Without hesitation, they pushed it open, revealing a narrow staircase leading to another hidden area of the basement. They descended the staircase and found themselves in a dark basement filled with dusty crates and piles of old furniture. The basement walls were draped with hanging chains, surgical tools, and other unknown items. In the far corner, they saw a large wooden armchair. Fear clung to them like a second skin as they gasped at the thought of what this area of the basement was used for. However, they knew they had to escape the house. They began searching every nook of the basement, hoping to find a way out of the house. Just when they were on the brink of despair, they discovered a small window hidden behind a pile of old furniture. They scrambled to open the rusty latch on the window with no success. As they continued pulling on the latch, they were suddenly jolted backwards by an ice-cold breeze across their hands. The friends stood frozen as they watched a ghostly figure emerge from the shadows next to the window. It was the young girl in the photograph, and the girl Avery saw earlier. The ghostly figure looked at Charlotte, Avery, and Willow with saddened, hollow eyes. She then turned her head slowly towards the window and placed her ghostly, pale hand on the window's latch. The girls began screaming, believing that the girl was preventing their escape. But within seconds, the window latch popped and the window opened. The ghostly figure looked at the girls, lowered her head, and slowly disappeared into the corner's dark shadows. Charlotte, Avery, and Willow ran to the window, knowing this was their chance to escape. For some reason, the ghostly girl wanted them to leave the house, perhaps helping them avoid the torture that she may have suffered within the basement walls. One by one, they squeezed through the narrow opening, their hearts pounding with adrenaline. Willow, the last to leave, was making her escape through the window, and she heard a chilling whisper echo through the air behind her. The house seemed to protest their departure, as if it had claimed them as its own. Without looking back, Willow quickly squeezed through the window and met her friends outside. They ran as fast as their legs would carry them, putting distance between themselves and the dreaded house. They did not dare look back, fearing what they might see. From that day forward, Charlotte, Avery, and Willow remained inseparable, bound together by the terror experienced in the old haunted house. They frequently thought about the young girl that helped them, wondering what horrible fate she met, but they vowed never to speak of the house again, burying the memories deep within forever.